Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, friends and family. Now, I want to do a quick video because the vice presidential debate happens tonight, and a couple of things I'm going to point out that may happen during the debate. The title of this video: Are Trump supporters racist and hypocrites? Now, I know this is going to ruffle some feathers, the title of this video, what I'm talking about, but bear with me, okay? Now, I know some people will say that term racist is thrown around. It's almost like hyperbole because it's used so often. Sometimes things get normalized, but I wore this t-shirt on purpose for this video, okay? The t-shirt says, I know it might be in reverse, but it says, "It's because I'm black, isn't it?" All right. So now, when I was thinking about this video, I thought to myself, I can't just say people are racist. Okay? So I'm going to take us back to high school. Do you remember in science class or chemistry class, you had to do a theory or a hypothesis? Not to be confused with math class, a theorem, a theory, and a hypothesis. There are 5 points to a hypothesis, a scientific hypothesis. 1, you state the hypothesis. 2, you collect data. 3, you perform statistical tests. 4, you decide to reject or fail the test. And 5, you present your findings. I mean, there may be some other steps in there, but I'm going to keep it simple, okay? Number 1, all right? Why do I say my theory is, or my hypothesis is, that I believe Trump supporters or MAGA Nation is racist and hypocritical, all right? So I'm going to list off a few things that give examples of that. That's my collecting of the data. The statistical test, it's going to show that the majority, and when I say majority, 51% or more of Trump supporters or MAGA Nation agree with or promote or vote for these things that are negative, that I consider racist, okay? All right, starting off, let's go way back. We're going to talk about the birther thing with Obama, all right? That is, doubting or claiming that Obama isn't or wasn't American, so he couldn't or shouldn't have been able to run for president because one of his parents was foreign, right? Well, Trump supporters, MAGA Nation, did you know that Donald Trump's mother is also an immigrant? So the same things that you were saying about Obama, you should be saying about Trump, okay? Does that make Trump, by your definition, does that make him an anchor baby? I don't know. I guess that's for you to decide, all right? Number 2, the Confederate flag. A lot of Trump supporters, MAGA Nation, they like to fly the Confederate flag. They say that it is not racist, that it is part of their heritage of slavery, part of it's for states' rights to own slaves. I don't want to get derailed, all right? Now, you may not think that that's racist, but in my mind, those are things that lead to or have racist tendencies. You can deny that all you want and say, well, it's not racist, but what you cannot deny is that the Confederate flag represents traitors to America. These are people that took an oath to the Constitution of the United States of America to defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and they broke that oath when they decided they wanted to secede from the United States. That makes them traitors. Similar to point 3, the January 6th rioters. These are people that rioted, broke and entered, destruction of property, threatening, menacing. They even injured police officers. For the law and order people, there were officers that were injured, okay? The January 6 rioters were also traitors, okay? Because they attacked the United States. They attacked a government building, all right? What I don't understand is that how they can be labeled as heroes while a black man who was using his First Amendment right of free speech, Colin Kaepernick, is labeled a villain. Get that rich uppity Negro back in his place. He doesn't have any right to free speech. Shut up and dribble, or go out and pass, or whatever you want to say. That's being racist, okay? Now, since we're talking about that, we're going to keep moving down the list. All right? Projection and confession. Why is it that Republicans, Trump supporters, MAGA Nation, they're okay with banning books that talk about slavery? Because they say that's part of critical race theory. They don't want those things taught in school. They want to indoctrinate our children into believing what they want to believe. They want to ban books about, African American or Black history, but they're okay with books such as Birth of a Nation, which is renamed from originally called The Klansman. And that details the KKK. They're okay with that book, all right? Oh, we had to cut their feet off. That's just the way it was. We had to torture and mistreat them. That's okay, all right? You don't think that that's racist? Okay, we'll keep moving on. Since we're talking about schools and indoctrination, why is it that it's okay to talk about Puff Daddy? And again, I'm not a fan of Puff Daddy. Don't like him. Okay, I think he has maybe 2 songs that I think were actually good. The rest he collaborated on. But Puff Daddy is in the news about a lot of bad things, from assault, trafficking, underage, girls. The same stuff happens every weekend at college campuses across the country. And all that false outrage, where's the energy for that? This stuff has been happening since before I was born, but nobody talks about that, okay? You don't think that's racist? Okay, all right, we'll move on. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. The problem that I have with DEI when Trump supporters and MAGA Nation is talking about DEI is that they're going on the assumption that it's not possible for a minority or a woman to actually be the best person for the job. What DEI is really meant for is that when somebody is a minority or a woman or other, and they are qualified for the job, that they actually get it. And they're not just passed over for a white guy. That's the whole point of DEI, all right? Gerrymandering, all right? Imagine, if you will, a square, okay? And you divide that square into 4 equal squares. So out of 100%, now you've got 25, 25, 25, 25. The way gerrymandering works is you take that 25 that's up here at the top, and instead of it being a square with 100% of black and minority votes, they're going to take that 25% and redraw the line into a primarily white area. So that 25% is now diluted into that white area. And then they do that with this 25%. And then they do it with this 25%. And they only leave 25%. So 75% of the black and minority vote is diluted into white areas, and it only leaves 25% voting power. That's what gerrymandering is. That's a very simple explanation for it, but that's basically how it works, okay? You don't think that's bad? You don't think that that's tip of the iceberg? Well, now we're going to bring it back, okay? Because first we talked about Obama. Now they're talking about Kamala, saying that she isn't black. Now, this woman has grown up her entire life. She's darker than me, okay? She's black, okay? Her daddy is Jamaican. He's darker than me. Jamaican is Negro, Africans are Negro. She went to a historically black college and university. She was in a black sorority. Now, some people will say, well, she said she was the first Indian American woman to be Attorney General, which you are correct. She did say that because she was the first person with Indian heritage to have that position. She's not the first black person to have that position. As a matter of fact, the first African American heritage person that was Attorney General was Robert Elliott in 1876. She's like number 7 or 8 down the list for attorney generals. So would it have been better if she said, oh, I'm the first person of Indian heritage and the number 8th person of African heritage to be attorney general? Would that have made it better for you? Okay. All right. We're going to keep going. All right. When I say projection and confession, I've heard MAGA Republicans and Trump supporters talk about school indoctrination. What's up with the 10 Commandments being, mandatory in schools in certain schools in the South? Certain states are making that law. 10 Commandments, okay? Not only is that a violation of separation of church and state, but it is a violation of religious freedoms. So you have Muslim kids, Hindu kids, Asian kids, whatever, if they're not Christian, they are being indoctrinated into the 10 Commandments. What about Jewish kids? Does that make that anti-Semitic now that we have to have the 10 Commandments in these schools and you don't have teachings from the Quran or the Torah? How does that work? All right. Now, some folks will say that they like Trump because it's not because of his policies. He doesn't really have any. He said he was going to overturn Obamacare, didn't do it. He said he was going to have Mexico build a wall, didn't happen. All right. But they say they like him because he's a businessman, right? He's a smart businessman. How many smart businessmen do you know that started off with $1 million from their daddy and have filed bankruptcy 5 times? He had a casino go bankrupt. A casino. The house always wins. How is that good business? He's had more failed businesses than I've had jobs in my entire life. Have you ever bought a bottle of Trump vodka? Did you ever go to Trump University? Have you ever eaten a Trump steak? Where are all these failed businesses? Mr. Great Businessman with all these failed businesses? They're not voting for Trump because they think he's a great businessman. All right. Now, I know this video is going to ruffle feathers, and I can already hear the mental gymnastics, the wheels turning of Trump supporters trying to fit that square peg into a round hole. Okay. But this is a man who was endorsed by David Duke, the former Grand Poobah, Big Robes Wizard of the KKK, and white nationalists and groups like the Proud Boys. They say birds of a feather flock together. Now, I'm not saying all Trump supporters are racist, but I am going to very convincingly can say that the majority, 51% or more, are. Okay? That's my hypothesis. Feel free to disprove it. Feel free to dispute it. Okay? I have no problem with that. I have no problem with discourse and conversation. I know that some of my friends are racist, and I know some of my Trump supporting friends are racist. I accept them the way they are, okay? And I don't have a problem with them being racist because they're not overtly racist in my presence. I know that they are, okay? Don't fool yourself. Don't think that you got me fooled, okay? But I place them in my life accordingly, all right? I don't have a problem with them because they have no effect on me, okay? They have no effect on my daily life, how my life is conducted. Not like Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, you do have some control over what happens here in Texas, and that does affect me, which is why I don't like him, all right? So keep that in mind. And I don't mean to be offensive to my Trump supporting friends and family members. If it don't apply, let it fly, okay? But like they say, if you take a stone and you throw it into a pack of dogs, the one that howls is the one that got hit, okay? So if it don't apply, let it fly, all right? That's my video. Don't forget to watch the vice presidential debate tonight. And I guarantee you that J.D. Vance is going to say something that is racist or hypocritical. I know it. I feel it in my bones, okay? Anyway, thank you guys for watching the video. And until next time, have a good day.